In this video, I'm gonna walk you through different steps you can take if you are a slicer. So if you are hitting golf shots with a nasty slice, we're gonna get you fixing that slice very quickly by just learning some simple concepts of how the golf swing works and understanding what you're doing wrong in the swing. And I'm gonna give you the exact fixes that you need to make to your swing so you stop slicing the golf ball immediately. So the first thing we're gonna start with is correcting our aim and our alignment. So most slicers, you've probably built the habit of aiming yourself to the left of your target line, and this is normal because you're scared to hit that golf ball right. So you start positioning yourself, aiming your body more left of your target line. So if we grab our other alignment stick here and we want to go ahead and set it up and pretend like it is the ball's target line here. So we've got our golf ball, and then you're going to notice that this line here is going to be aiming to that left side. So aiming left, this is a fundamental cause that's also going to add to your slice, because as you start aiming off to the left, if you're still swinging straight at your target line, that's going to end up leaving that club face open, and that's going to cause that slice to be more severe. So if we were aiming left and we were hitting dead straight left where we were aimed, then we would know that we actually are closing our club face correctly when we're hitting those shots to the left. But since these shots are going right, what that means is that our club face is actually open relative to our swing path that is going to the left, and that's causing that slice spin. So first we need to correct our aim, so we need to start aiming ourselves actually to the right. So it's counterintuitive, but if we're gonna set up here to our tee shot, we're actually gonna shift ourselves so that our body, our shoulders, our hips, our knees, our feet, everything is in sync going off to that right side. And so this is gonna instinctively make you worry about hitting that golf shot right now. And so you're gonna adjust in your downswing, and you're gonna shut that face more naturally, trying to get that club to hit that golf ball to the left, because now mentally you're worried about it going to the right. So it's kind of a quick trick you can do to yourself. When you see yourself aimed pretty far right, that's naturally going to make you want to swing that club and hit that golf ball left. Just like when we're aiming to the left, it's because we're hitting that slice and making it go back right. So first we got to get our alignment going out to the right so we can start hitting golf shots to the right. Then we're going to get this club face shut is step number 2, so that we can get our golf shots to stop slicing and we can get that draw or that hook spin onto the golf shot. All right, so step number 1 is going to be getting ourselves aimed up to the right side so we can stop hitting shots left and letting that slice affect us mentally. So get yourself aimed up, aligned to the right. We want to start hitting golf shots to the right. That's going to be step 1, getting our swing out to the right. And then we're going to worry about getting that ball to stop curving with slice spin, and we're going to actually get it to start hooking or drawing back towards the center. So to do this, next we need to talk about the club face itself. So the club face, when we are swinging, anytime we are swinging on an intended swing path, if that club face is open relative to our swing path, that's going to cause slice spin. So the opposite is we need to get that club face closed a little bit relative to that swing path, and that's going to put draw spin on the golf ball. So if we're going to set up here, one of the first things that we can do is we can adjust our club face at our setup. So if I've set my driver up here, all I'm going to slightly do is just shut my driver face and angle it to the left a little bit on the setup. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my grip, and then when we do our swing, we're going to be hitting with more of a shut club face. So you might be setting up to the golf ball and not realizing it, that because of our line here, our feet line pointing left, and we think that we're aligning still to the center, we might not realize that we actually have an open club face on the ground when we set it behind the golf ball. So make sure that leading edge is turned back to where the club is square, or turn to where that club face is slightly pointing towards the left, so it's a shut face when we set it behind the golf ball. Now, another thing we want to note here is our driver shaft should be straight. We don't want to have forward shaft lean. Again, when we have forward shaft lean, you're going to notice how the face rotates on the ground as I push my shaft more forward. Now that face opened up and it's pointing out to the right, and that's where we get that slice spin on the golf ball. So we want this club shaft to be relatively straight, and now we can see the club face is nice and square. So when we come down into impact with that golf club, we want to be hitting that golf ball with a straight shaft or a slightly shaft turned slightly back, and that means we've got the leading toe of the club coming in first before the heel, so that face is slightly shut, and that's where we're going to start contacting our shots more on the toe or just slightly on the toe side of center, and that's what's going to put that draw spin or that hook spin on the golf ball. So again, we don't want to come in with a club shaft forward. We want to come in more neutral where that club shaft is hitting the golf ball in a nice straight position or slightly back, so that we know that club face is shut and we're going to catch it more on the toe side and put it in a nice draw spin. So to get that club face closed, a few things we can do. We can talk about the takeaway here. So when we turn back on our takeaway, one of the first things we can do is make sure that that club face is pointing down towards the ground a little bit. That's a shut club face. If that club face is opened up, pointing up to the sky, that's an open club face. So how do we get to an open club face in the takeaway? Well, you're making a wrong move with your wrists. As you're taking that club away, you're probably rotating your wrists and your hands open, and you're opening up that club face, and that's gonna lead you to slice the golf shot. Instead, we need to keep those hands still, keep them quiet, don't let them rotate open, just turn and take the club back and keep that club face pointing down a little bit towards the ground or slightly in a neutral position where the club is more straight up and down. We don't want to have it pointing to the sky where it's open. So again, just work on this takeaway drill, taking the club back, trying to just keep it slightly angled towards the ground, and that's going to give you a more shut club face that's going to help you get that club face shut then on the downswing as well. Now on the downswing itself, we want to focus on the follow through when we go into the golf ball, into the hitting zone. So anytime that we try to hold the club face off and we don't want to release our hands, release our arms into the golf ball, if we hold or try to guide the club and hold those hands off, that's how we end up coming in with that forward shaft where the shaft gets out ahead of our club head, and that leaves that face open. So in order to get the club shaft to the correct straight position or slightly to where the club head is now coming in ahead of our shaft with a closed face, we need to be able to get comfortable letting go of our release here. So as we take the club back, we're hinging our wrists, we're cocking our wrists, getting into a loaded position. And as we come down, we want to go ahead and fire those hands, let those hands release and turn over into the follow through. So when we get back to parallel over here, so again, we take it back here to 3 o'clock, and then when we come through the hitting zone to 6 o'clock, and then we follow through to 9 o'clock if you think of a clock position. So this shaft right now, we want to see that club face again turn shut to where it's pointing towards the ground. So to get to that position, we need to be able to roll those forearms over and shut that club face through impact. So we call this releasing the club face, letting that club face hit that golf ball square or slightly shut, and then turning the face and the head over into that 9 o'clock position by rotating over our forearms. So one error a lot of beginners are going to make is you're going to get handsy. You're going to start throwing the hands, letting the hands do this. We don't want to whip our hands and get all handsy. Instead, we want to more keep a nice firm arm here where the arm and the shaft are kind of all in one together, and we're just kind of rotating our forearms over. So think palms here and then rotate them over to this side. So kind of set your hands on top of each other and practice rotating this right palm over so it's facing the ground. So we're just rotating. So get that sensation coming through, rotating over, back and forth, rotating over. Now again, we don't want to do that too much on the backswing. When we take it back, a lot of times we do the opposite. When we take that club back, you end up rotating open the face, and then coming through, you're going to have to make all that up trying to shut the face. So again, we want to turn back, keeping that club face closed, pointing towards the ground, get into our loaded position, then fire down on the downswing, hit the golf ball with a slightly shut face, and then let those hands and those those arms turn over to shut that club face on the follow through. So that's a couple different ways on the takeaway and on the downswing we can try to get that club face closed. Now, one of the easy ways to make this happen is to adjust our grip. It's a lot easier to close the club face during the swing when we have a stronger grip on the golf club. So strong grip doesn't mean gripping the club as tight as we can. That's not what we mean by strong grip. Strong grip means our hand position is turned over more to the right side of the shaft. So if we take a neutral grip position, normally our hands are gonna have our V's pointing towards our chin, and this hand's gonna come on here with the V in our hand here pointing towards this right shoulder. Now with a strong grip position, we're just rotating the hands more to the right. So this top hand is gonna be more on top of the club to where you can see 1, 2, 3 knuckles, and then your right hand is gonna be rotating more underneath the club, and that's gonna be a strong grip that's gonna allow us to close that face easier. All right, so quick review of the different steps we've talked about today. Number one, we want to work on our alignment, getting ourselves aligned up more to the right instead of aiming ourselves to the left. We want to get rid of the tendency to aim left, and that's also what's going to help stop you from slicing. If you start aiming to the right, we're going to get those golf shots going to the right, and then we're going to draw or hook them back by shutting the face. So that's step number two, getting that face closed. So we're going to get ourselves lined up to the right. We're going to work on our takeaway, taking that club back with a shut face, get it locked and loaded up here at the top of the swing, keeping that face in a closed position. Start the downswing, dropping our arms down towards our hips here, and then bringing them through to the golf ball from the inside out. So one of the things a lot of slicers are doing wrong is they are picking that golf club more straight up into the sky, and then they're coming down from the outside to the inside, and that's what's cutting across that golf ball to the left, causing that slice spin as well. So in this case, when we take that club back, we want to go ahead and drop those hands and arms kind of down towards our hip, and then fire our body forward, and that's going to help that club rotate from the inside to the outside, and that's going to start that club swinging out to the right, hitting golf shots out to the right, and then that club face being slightly shut is what's going to put that draw spin that brings it back from the right to the left to center. So again, think about club face, think about its relation with the swing path. We want that club face more shut relative to our swing path, but we also need to change our swing path and get our swing path coming from the inside out instead of coming over the top by lifting that club up way too steep and coming down from the outside. So one drill we can do for this is just hold the club out in front of us, and we're kind of just gonna rotate it around our body like a baseball swing. So we want to kind of think about circular around our body, not so much picking it straight up and doing a steep, straight up, straight down swing. We want that swing to be more rounded around our body, and that's going to help us swing out to the right and hit that golf shot on the right swing path. All right, so take these tips with alignment, our stance, how we swing in our swing path, and then our club face relative to our takeaway and our downswing, and you're going to start hitting shots to the right, and you're going to start getting that draw spin, that hook spin, and you're going to stop slicing. So if we can get you to start hitting shots to the left with hook spin, and then we can start working on that swing path, getting that swing path to then compensate the ball going left now by hitting out to the right. So we can start that ball right, let it draw back to the left, and you're going to start hitting a nice draw instead of slicing.